talent, to hire good talent. But I would like to share and I would like to discuss few aspects which are like an hygiene to any organization that we must consider and we must follow. To start with, attractive compensation packages. I know this is one of the biggest challenges all of you must be facing, or at least some of you. But we need to ensure that our salaries, our benefits, our incentives, our bonuses, our profit sharing, they are as per the market. They are at par to the market industry. Otherwise, we will tend to lose people to our competitors. Wherever possible, if possible, if you have the time and the budget to have a market study done or a compensation benchmarking study done, please do that. If you have already done it, that's very nice that already your salaries are in at par as per the market. uh, Apart from this, then employer branding, very, very important. Our image and our company image, our company's goodwill, our uh, reputation that we carry, very, very important. Every time we speak or write, our employees speak or write in social media. Social media right now is the king, as you're aware, be it your LinkedIn, be it your Facebook, be it your Instagram, be your website. It has to be updated. It should be out there. It should be displaying your career opportunities, your employee testimonials, your client testimonials, your culture. Each and every information should be available. Nice photos, engagement photos. Even for that matter, a platform like a Glassdoor or a platform like a Fishbone, where candidates do visit this website before applying for an interview with you. So ensure that there are good reviews, there are nice images, there are nice testimonials on your social media. And career growth opportunities, it's not only money or the salary that candidates look for, but also what kind of opportunity, what kind of learning opportunity you as a company can provide to the candidate is what they also look for. So branding is very, very important. uh, Next is targeted recruitment strategies. I'm sure all of you have your no, job boards or Naukri portals or whichever portals you use for, or in case you have going for a campus drive, or you can partner with the educational institutes for hiring particular set of skill sets people, or for that matter, how many of you have employee referral policy in your organization? I
Hmm.
would like to know. Okay, okay. I can't see everybody. Can somebody put in the chat? I can see only two hands at the moment. I think because of the yeah, yeah, right. So I think the most trusted source to get the people is your employee referral policy. If you do not have this referral policy, please ensure that you have one. You can start with a smaller budget in the policy, maybe with the 5,000 or a 10,000 as per your levels and as per the seniority levels in the organization. So trust me, you will get ready-made talent, ready-made resources in an organization if you have this in place, because there are employees who are your brand ambassadors and they will put in the word in the market, and that's how you will get your resources and talent out there in an organization. So ensure you have this policy in place if it is not there. Next, showcase your innovative projects, like for example architecture or interior. If you have sustainable green building initiatives that you can display it out or portray it out in your website or on social media, please showcase it to the clients. Even for that matter, whenever you're speaking with a recruiter or for a consultant for that matter, you need to give him or her the brief accordingly, that these are our USPs, these are our ongoing innovative projects. These are our very crucial projects of which contribution is required. So this has to be right out there in the market while you are hiring, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or Insta or your website for the next. Inclusive and supportive culture. I think we will talk about culture a lot more towards the end. But when I say DEI, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. How diverse is your workforce? How inclusive are you with your employees? How important, how much value are you giving to your employees? Is all that will come from your company reviews, which is on Glassdoor or maybe a Fishbone, or maybe work balance or something like a flexible class. Because of COVID and pandemic, we have all been into a hybrid model for quite some time. So this is what something like benefits and the facilities candidates do look after when they are applying for an organization. So, flexible hours, work from home, in my current organization, we have a policy of Jumpstart Friday, which is like the first Friday of every month, you can leave the organization 2 hours early. And this is only meant to pursue your passion. So every 7 days prior, I mean, or start of the month, we send out a communication that this is the Jumpstart Friday. Please utilize it for your passion. And the same day, we also send out a communication asking what are you going to pursue post 4 p.m. today? What passion are you going to pursue? And whenever employees go out and have their passion and spend their time with their hobbies, we ensure that we click nice pictures of them engaging maybe in a dance or a singing or a someone knitting or a sports, anything of that of their livelihood, and then we portray these pictures out even on our LinkedIn page, even on our internal communication. So this engages and this motivates people that they have been valued and they have been engaged in the organization. So these are some of the suggestions that I would like to highlight when we are attracting the kind of talent, the right talent in the market. Of course, then we will move on to the next slide, which is a poll question. I would recommend everybody to participate. So the question here is beyond subject matter expertise, beyond your domain knowledge, what other factor do you consider or is important you feel for hiring a mid-level or senior level position? So there are 5 options. Please select one of them and we'll understand what is the pulse that the audience has right now. Amita, would you like to?
Can you go to the next slide, Archana?
Sure.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. Please log into menti.com and use the code 26930784. I don't know why it is not coming over here. I will put that code in the chat box. Hello. Has everyone joined on menti.com? I'll repeat the code.
It is saying site can't be reached.
26930784. Can you join? No, I joined it. I am able to join it. Menti.com.
Yeah, even I could join in.
Yeah, so you can, it's 26930784.
Yeah, I could also join. Yeah.
It is menti.com. So I'm just putting the website name also in the chat box. Please opt for your answers. Select any one of that.
Code, please.
26930784. Are you able to log in your answer?
Yes.
Yeah, and if it is difficult for you to do so, maybe you can put just A, B, C, D, E, and we'll just count it. I am not. Archana, can you just go one slide ahead and come back?
Okay.
Or you can just click on it and say refresh.
Or we can just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like these numbers.
Yes, yeah.
I think we can see it on the Menti screen.
Yeah, can you just go back? Can you go? Yeah. So, okay. So actually, I have got the answers on my live screen.
Okay.
Okay.
So am I. Yeah.
I'll share the snapshot of it. So, Archana, for your information, many of them have opted for strategic thinking and problem solving. So, 10 people have chosen that as their answer. 4 have chosen leadership and decision making skills. 4
Right.
have chosen emotional intelligence. 2 have chosen alignment with company values. 1 has chosen adaptability to change and innovate.
Right.
So many people have chosen the last one rather.
Understood. Okay. So that gives us a
Yes,
clear picture.
Raji has put it across.
Yeah.
Raji, thank you so much.
Okay. Right. So I think that gives us a clear picture that it is not just the subject matter expertise that we have to look into. By far, people have been following. But of course, there are other crucial aspects of which strategic thinking has got the highest vote in our audience. So let's deep dive here and understand few questions or consider few points that you should be looking after beyond expertise when you're hiring or when you're attracting the people. So, of which leadership and management skills, I think this is very, very important when you're hiring for a mid or a senior level. So, look at the questions that you should be asking your candidates or your people when you're hiring. So, these are all situation based, these are all behavioral event interview questions. So, you should ask them questions like, whether what was a time or describe a time that you led a team and you had a significant challenge, and how did you kept the team motivated? Or you can ask a question like that: how did you manage conflict within your team and how did you resolve it? Next, strategic thinking and vision, precisely what you all girls said. So, describe a situation where there was a complex problem and what was the impact and what was your approach. So, instead of just asking them no questions, of course, track records and their past achievements is important, but you need to ask them questions in a different way and judge and gauge their answers and understand their responses as to how they are approaching to this question firstly, and whether they are actually done this, implemented this, they've come across these situations or not. So for strategic thinking and vision, you can ask them these questions: and how are they staying informed about their industry trends, and what is that they are getting into strategic planning. Secondly, how do they solve a complex problem, and what new idea or what is their contribution to the organization and which has inspired change. The third is absolutely important: cultural fitment and aligned. So by this, you will know whether that person is a fit to your organization or not, to our company values or company culture or not. Last, I mean, fourth is adaptability and agility. So how adaptable or how agile the person is, because teamwork, collaboration, all these are very important aspects. If the person is not adaptable, the person is not agile, he or she will not be happy in turn when joining up the organization, and eventually will probably might face burnout and leave the organization. Next is comm skills. I think communication skills is something everybody focuses on, but when I say communication is not just English communication or the way you speak, it is how you actually convey, how articulate are you while communicating it with your internal stakeholders, or be it your external stakeholders, your clients, your shareholders. Is emotional quotient very, very important. We as HR speak a lot about this. Emotional intelligence and emotional quotient can be a different topic of discussion of 2 3 hours, Raji. uh,
Yeah.
of course, empathy is how you do handle when your team member is struggling personally or professionally. How are you helping them, or in a stressful situation? How have you handled a stressful situation at work? So please take into consideration all these factors and do not restrict yourself to domain knowledge. Next, let's move on. Integrity and ethical standards, very, very, very important. I mean, I need not emphasize how important this is. Uh, Tell me a time as to how what made you stand up, what was right, and how did you put forth your point, and whether it was difficult, not difficult. You can ask. Then, what was one decision that was guided by your personal, professional ethics? You can ask. Next, track records and achievements. I think everybody asked these questions. What are your achievements? What were your milestones? What were your own contribution? How did it impacted the organization vision? Was there a failure in your project? What did you learn from the failure? All these questions you need to probe deeper while hiring people. Then crisis management, again, important, very important, and resilience, the ability to come back in case there's a failure. Uh, ask questions, give them situations for these kind of categories as well. And lastly, networking and relationship building. I think this platform itself is a very good example of networking and building relationship. I mean, emphasis more on this. What was their contribution as a successfully negotiated partnership or a collaboration, or how they have been maintaining positive relationship, whether it is with the client or an internal employee or their bosses or their seniors or board members, anyone. So I think all of us should take into consideration these categories, these aspects as well, while hiring for our any particular role. So next, again, an interesting poll question. Time to submit responses. So the question is, while hiring for critical roles or key roles, how important do you think is years of experience? Because all our job descriptions do mention years of experience. We always say we want experienced person from 8 to 10 years, 10 to 15 years, or 2 to 3 years, whatever. So there are five options, as you can see on the slide. First is crucial. Experience should be primary consideration. Second is important but balanced with skills and potential. Third is only one of the several factors, such as adaptability and fitment. Then less important, and then fifth is minimal importance. I request all of you to cast your vote out of these five options given. If there's an issue with menti.com, then you can just put in the option in the chat. Like one, two,
Can you
three.
again go to the next slide, Archana?
Sure.
Okay. So the code is same, 26930784.
Two, 6, 9, 3, 0, 7, 8, 4. Yeah, got it.
Can you put it on the chat now?
Oh. So we're not getting the next slide.
Oh, is
Amita.
it?
I see the older one.
Yeah, me too.
Anybody?
Still see the older one.
Yeah. Maybe we have to give another
Archana,
code.
can you just go back, go
Yeah.
ahead one slide and come back again?
Acha, okay.
Yeah, and come back again.
Yeah, I've come back.
I don't know why it is also showing. Okay, fine. So I guess you people will have to reply over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me go back. So one is crucial, two is important but balanced, three is one of the several factors, four is less important, and fifth is minimal importance. Focus on attitude and learning agility. So select these, one of these.
So major replies are coming either 2 or 3.
Okay.
A couple of them have chosen 4.
Okay. So there are no votes for 1 and 5, is it?
Yes, no votes for 1 and 5.
So 1 is an extreme case and 5 is again an extreme option.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
because that's where we have mid options. Okay, everybody has participated, or we are waiting for anyone?
I think almost are done.
I think almost done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so before venturing into this particular topic, I have a question for all of you. So how many of you have empaneled with recruitment consultants for your hiring needs? Or do you do everything hiring in-house? If I can know a quick view. I hope I was audible.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said, yeah. How many of you have
Some are
empaneled?
writing, many are writing both. Some are
Okay.
saying,
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
I'm missing the chats. All right.
yeah.
Okay.
Some are saying in-house as well. They do it themselves, basically.
Okay. Okay. How about preparing JD, job description? And if you prepare JD, what do you write in the JD? Can they unmute themselves and speak instead of just going to the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you prepare a JD, you're saying what do we write in that
What do we write?
typically?
Yeah. Yes.
So in our case, we write what Deep Roots is all about and what do we stand for. Basically, it's unlike for me, the culture is very, very important. So for
Yeah.
me, I want to get the right fit through the culture fit, basically. So I write about that. And then, of course, the number of years we are looking for, but it's always a range. It's a range from 2 to, like you said, nobody's perfect, right? So 2 to 5, like that. So we know. And then where it is positioned and what is the role they're coming for, basically.
Okay. Okay.
We also try to put, basic qualifications which are required apart from some traits. Like if you require someone who has got good analytical skills or something, if we want to capture that,
Okay.
we also capture that in the GD.
Yeah. Right. Right. What else?
Softwares also, which softwares they can use.
Correct.
So, job description should have firstly the objective of this position. Why are we hiring for this role? KRAs are
Okay.
definitely a part of JD. What are we going to achieve when I say that XYZ role? It should start with the objective. Then you can then talk about your education, your years of experience, your relevant industry, or you can talk about the skills that you require. And there should be a must-haves also. So when I say must-haves, that I'm not going to compromise with this particular skill. So these are my must-haves. So which is 90% of my JD. I will not be able to compromise on this when I'm hiring for a talent. So it should have, as I said, objective KRAs, skill sets, must-haves, and then your other things, your education, years of experience, and software. Somebody said software and all of that. So ensure if the objective is not there, so because then that is where when you sit for an appraisal uh, annually towards the end of the year, we always talk about activities and efforts. Nobody talks about the objective for the role. So even while hiring, if you make it clear to them at the very start stage, they know what are they working towards, what are they going to achieve by doing these activities, by performing these KRAs. So ensure that you highlight the objective and the detailed KRAs and KPIs while hiring. When you're giving a brief to your recruiter, also when you're giving a brief to your consultant, because they are the face of your company. So they are going to put it out in the market, and that's how you're going to attract your talent. So if your JD and your brief to a recruiter or HR or whoever is hiring is not clear, you're not going to get right talent. So ensure that this is done. So now coming back to the poll, I would want to have this debate where we are saying that there are certain profiles, or there are certain roles where years of experience matters, whereas there can be certain roles where years of experience can be less critical. I'm not saying not important, I'm saying less critical. So let's see where years of experience matter. So some role important. For example, in a complex project. So for complex projects, a deeper understanding of these projects or technical processes or materials or industry standards is important, where you need to have the experienced professional and you can't be having a fresher or a younger person. For example, a larger team project, an architectural project which has a larger group, you need to have those leadership skills. You need to have a person who can handle teams, who knows their guidelines, who knows their client expectations, who can work on the milestones and timelines. Then safety standards, of course, safety protocol, somebody who is familiar in and out with the safety protocol, and somebody who knows how to troubleshoot, and somebody who can reduce the risk. So you can't be hiring a lesser experience or a fresher or a younger professional. Second category is the project management. Of course, here again, a leader is important. You can't be having a younger professional. So somebody who can manage teams, somebody who can know the timeline, somebody who know what is the project all about. Second is the risk management roles. Here again, your risk professional has to be knowing how to mitigate the risk and how to anticipate the risk. So here again, experience does matter. Then an area where industry specific knowledge is required, for example, regulations and compliance. I mean, the person should be knowing the laws of the land. So you can't be having a younger professional here. So ensure that you are hiring an experienced professional in that domain, in that industry, who knows the local, state, and federal laws, or an area where there is design aesthetics and trends. So somebody who knows what are the current trends, somebody who knows how to blend the trends with the client expectations. So all these areas you should have rather experienced professionals. Now let's look at the right side where you can slightly, you can be okay, or where years of experience is not that critical. So here comes where innovation and fresh perspectives required. So now, for example, youngsters or Gen Zs, their glass is not full. They're always open and willing. They are willing to learn more. They are fresher, so hence they want to prove it in their career or to their seniors or to themselves. So they are in a situation where they have a fresh perspective and they can adopt to new technologies, or for that matter, they are tech savvy as well, as compared to experienced professionals. I'm not saying experienced professionals are not tech savvy, but here the years of experience can be less critical while you're looking to hire. They can be adapted, or they can be adapted with latest design techniques, 3D modeling, AI tools, digital tools, virtual reality, etc., so on and so forth. So here we should consider a fresh perspective, of fresh blood is what I recommend. Then learning agility. Now we all know quality of experience and the ability to learn quickly can be more valuable than just the sheer number of years. So we can have rapid learners built in our system, along with experienced professional. If we have mix of both, that will be a good culture or a good company to look at. Next is specialized salesman. What if there is less years of experience, but the person has worked in the niche areas or has that specific specialized area? You need 10 years, 15 years of experience. You can have 2 years, but relevant to your niche or relevant to the specialized skills. For example, green building or energy efficient systems. So somebody has worked on that, you can hire that person. And last but not the least, cultural fit and leadership. So again, to understand team dynamics, what you need is understand is cultural fitment, the communication skills, and leadership potential. So these qualities need not necessarily correlate with the experience, years of experience that you have, but it is often found in less experienced but highly motivated individuals. So you can always look at these set of people. And of course, career growth, a candidate with fewer years of experience but has a strong drive to grow and can take on leadership role can be a long-term asset for your organization. So I again, to sum this up, let me move on to the next slide. Is I would always recommend to have a mix of both, a balanced approach, experience versus expertise. Always understand the depth and relevance of the experience rather than just the duration of the years. I've stated an example here. Then, of course, evaluate skill and potential and do consider a balanced approach, weigh the factors like skills, learning agility, and specific demands of their role. I think by this way, we will have a balanced workforce, we will have a balanced culture. And in case of attrition, also, if there's happening, by God forbid, we will have a balance of mix of experience as well as professionals. So tomorrow, if there are projects of similar kinds, you have both the talents in your company. So this is what I would recommend, right? So let's move on now to the other side, other part of the session, which is retaining. Now, as I said, it's an ongoing war. You've attracted the talent, you hired them very nicely, you paid them high salaries, you paid them incentives, etc., etc. Now, how to retain them? What is that today's workforce is looking for? What are their expectations from the company? Let's understand that side as well, and let's see what challenges are we facing here while retaining the talent. To start with, if you can, have the opportunity to introduce certain certification program or give them advanced training or have a mentorship program or an internal promotion or a cross-functional training or a cross opportunity to do a job rotation. For example, in my company, there is a program called as LEAP, LEAP, Learning Education Assistance Policy, wherein you can work with the company for 2 years and and you will have to have a certain performance rating for the last 2 years, which is above average, of course. And then a company would be ready to invest 1 lakh of rupees in your learning courses in your academic to meet your academic goals. So that way you retain the employee for 3 years, 2 years. You meet his or her training needs. You make the employee happy, and in return, I'm sure the employee will give his or her output. So these are some of the techniques where you can have these opportunities and also make it a platform to introduce it to the social medias, so that will be easier for you to attract talent. Something like a mentor-mentee program. So in my current organization, we have mid-level managers, which are our area sales manager, and they have been assigned to a mentor, which is like a CRO or a CFO or an HR head or someone. So they have a fortnightly meeting that happens with the mentor, with the mentee, and which is all about taking their career ahead, taking their graph ahead, and how, as a mentor, they can help them, what books to read, what training to undergo, how they can carve their culture and so on and so forth, carve their career and so on and so forth. So you can introduce such policies as well in the organization. Employee rewards and recognition, another area which is very close to my heart, which is relevant to employee engagement and very, very effective as far as retaining is concerned. So a simple pat on the back and always a public acknowledgement in meetings, credit, even a credit to the person is required. Always remember, always praise in the public and reprimand in the private. Nobody likes to be getting scolded or shouted in the public. So ensure that you do that. It's a very small thing, but a very creating high impact as far as company is concerned. Then, if you can introduce an external rewards and recognition platform where it is not just about the money, but it is also giving a feedback even to your seniors. So it's a 360 feedback where you can allocate certain stars, or you can give a pat on the back virtually. You need not go and actually meet that person. Or you can introduce from an HR perspective a thank you card for contribution or helping out the particular person in any project or a meeting or a presentation or anything that can be considered. Uh, or you can have a gem of the month or a performer of the month, a performer of the week award. And maybe you can introduce certain small Amazon vouchers, so to say, as a gift to them. Or you can have a paid family vacation if that's possible. Or you can introduce them to free movie tickets for their family. Or somewhere you need to build that family connect also when it comes to your employees. Many of companies also have long-term service awards. That is, they award their employees who have spent the decent amount of years with the company, which is either 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So 5 years you can have maybe a voucher. 10 years maybe you can have a memento and a certificate with nicely celebrated award ceremony and so forth. So people do appreciate these small things. It is not always the money, but these behavioral aspects, these small little things do matter. Next is foster positive environment. I mean, needless to say, HR plays a very, very important role, whether it is team building activities or communication and mental health support is right now the need of the hour. There are companies who have hired and empaneled external vendors for mental health. People, because your employees probably would not be comfortable sharing their personal aspects or their toxic boss or toxic work environment with HR or owner of the company. So you can have a third person open this platform. Then with they can open their heart out and have an open communication with them. Or we also have in our current organization, or even for that matter in my last organization, that we used to celebrate birthdays of the employees, a monthly birthdays for the employees, which is a very small gesture, but they feel that they have been valued and they've been heard by the organization and by the owners of the company. So you can do that. We always say that we have an open door culture, but do we actually have an open door culture? Are we okay to have or implement the decisions which are coming from the juniors or anyone across the organization? Just by saying open door culture, we are not actually practicing open door culture. Also, something like a wow cafe or a no chai pe charcha with HR. Wow cafe is something like the junior most person can have an open communication with the highest authority, which is not related to business. It is totally non-business. It is only about the personal personality, the behavior, anything outside your work is a communication. So in my current company, we do have this policy, which is a 40 minutes to 1 hour of session with my managing director and CEO. And each person who comes out of that meeting has given me very, very positive feedback. And they are very happy that they have been heard, they've been listened by the highest authority of the company. So all these are small aspects, but very, very crucial for retaining your employees. Next is inclusive decision making. I think I have emphasized this more than enough in my last couple of slides. Do include your employees in decisions. Do include your mid-level managers for taking interviews for any role and feedback. So Gen Zs nowadays don't wait for feedback for the year end, for the annual appraisal. They want feedback like this. They want feedback after every 7 days or after 15 days. They are saying don't do postmortem at the end of the year. Give me feedback right now, then and there itself, so that there's an improvement and there's a change strategy undertaken. So ensure that all this is followed as far as followed in the organization. Next is exit interviews. Of course, exit interviews are not to be done when the employee resigns. There has to be early warning signals by the gesture, by the communication, by the kind of leaves the person says. It is evident that this employee is going to leave your organization sooner or later. It is not only कि appraisal हो गया तो June में people will leave out. No, there are certain early warning signals. Attrition is again a very important topic to discuss, which early warning is one of them. So, of course, when you take interviews, don't restrict to. I'm sure everybody has exit interview forms, but don't restrict to the questions asking, Acha, where are you joining? What is the hike that you've got? So on and so forth. Ask them feedback, ask them about your systems, ask them about their processes, ask them about their managers, because many people leave because of their managers. Many people leave because of the toxic culture. Many people leave because they have been not heard. And money is not the only factor. And once you receive the feedback, please act on the feedback that is given. You will see a trend and you'll be able to analyze that trend and you can see what you can inculcate and what you can bring in the culture. Next is workplace safety and stability. So when I say it is safety, it doesn't only mean safety standards. It also employee also expect job security, job stability from the company. So if your vision mission is not clear, if your leadership style and management style is not what they are looking for, they will not feel safe or as a family in your company. So ensure that you build down this culture also of job security in this today's volatile and uncertain environment. Next is leadership. I just mentioned how supportive you are in their tough times, or how supportive you are during a not so good business space, and how effective your leadership skill is very, very, very important. And you should be always taking care of these aspects. So yeah, so this was about retaining talent. Now, next in line, I would want to address the biggest challenge I'm sure all of you are facing, which is exits due to monetary reasons. So people generally say that they're leaving the organization due to better prospects. So better prospects is the word that everyone uses. So while you see that money or a better package or a better designation at the surface level, which is at the tip of the iceberg, but most of us don't see what is beneath the iceberg. So understand what is the root cause. Understand if they're saying money, then check if it is actually as per the market value or not, whether you have offered them correct salary or not, correct benefits or not, correct incentives or not. So I've been always saying that review your compensation strategy, do benchmarking, check if it is the industry standard or not. And then, of course, if the person has resigned and you think that resource is very important, understand his or her performance and contribution. Do you really want to retain that person? And if you want, then you should take that action immediately, not after resignation only. You should be taking proactive action so that the person doesn't leave the organization. Also, as rightly said by Raji, that there's a replacement cost. Tomorrow, if you happen to hire that person for that role, for that matter, you're not going to get at the same cost or a lower cost. It will be at least 10 to 15% higher cost, and your 3 months of notice period comes along with that. So evaluate and measure whether that cost is higher. You really want to retain, what small action can be done so that you can retain that employee. Again, if you retain a particular employee by offering an high package, and so that he is happy, don't set this as a precedent, because then that will be seen as a culture, and it will be always seen that loyalty is related to money, loyalty is related to higher package. So do not set this precedent. Do it only in only exceptional cases. Otherwise, other aspects, our culture is not going to be followed. Then look out for alternative retention strategies. I have seen in many organizations where people on a surface value have said that better prospects and all of that, but they have never been handholded by their leaders. They have never been told, Acha, what is their career path? They've never been told what is their career looks like 2 years, 3 years down the line. Or they have never been told that what is my departmental vision or my company vision. So non-monetary benefits, you can give them flexible hours, work from policy, work from home policy, or a paternity leave, or whatever you think, location, relocation, job rotation, whatever you can do which is not related to money. And then be prepared of the outcomes. Of course, try making the counter offer, but do not hold it so much that it spoils the entire this thing. So if they are not happy with the counter offer, be ready to let go, prepare a backup of the person, prepare, always have a successor in our organization. That's why succession planning is very, very important for your crucial roles as well. And last, I think I've been emphasizing on the compensation strategy is check if they are aligned to the market standards or not, so that we prevent such kind of situations, and we focus on the early warning signals, as I said, and proactively retain the people rather than retaining them or after resignation. So yes, now let's move on to next point. But before that, I would like to ask if somebody can answer, unmute themselves. So what do you understand when you say organization culture, or workplace culture? Can somebody throw some points on culture? You can unmute yourself and speak. Okay. Silence, does that mean, is it too much bombardment?
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Ranjan.
Yeah. So I believe the culture is what, how as an entrepreneur we behave with our subordinates or our team, and that is what is set forward. So if we take things leniently, or we make things a bit uncomfortable, it goes to the culture also. So I personally believe how we as an entrepreneur or as a business owner behave, that is what goes into the subordinates or the team also. There are more extension towards it, but then this is the basic thing, I believe.
Absolutely. Any other view?
For us, at Deep Roots, we have a very strong culture of nurturing. Basically, we put nurturing first. Also, work-life balance is very, very important for us. And I always follow this firm and fair kind of a. My tagline is firm and fair. I'll always be firm, but I'll be fair. So,
Okay.
and I prefer them to be firm and fair with clients, with us, with each other, and mutual respect. So these are few of the things that we follow as well, and it's very, very important when we hire people. And probably that's why we have people staying also for a longer time, because we choose people who can fit in that culture.
Right.
I will also add that it is the environment, working environment, which is there, whether there is a freedom to speak, whether juniors can put in their ideas, whether mentoring is happening or not, the queries are getting solved or not. So even that becomes a part of the culture according to.
Right, right.
I think the values also add to what
Absolutely.
there is.
Your values, your beliefs, your principles. In my current organization, we have 13 guiding principles which revolve around our shared values and operating guidelines. So we have painted in all our 66 branches in across India. So aate jate, that is there in front of them, and they live, eat, breathe, and abide by these principles, and they are part of culture. Even when a new joinee joins, he or she is made clear that these are the principles that you have to, or this is what we follow. So that becomes easier for the person also to settle down in a newer environment like us. So, right. So, when I say assessing cultural fit is while hiring and while retaining our employees, we need to assess these pointers which are related to our cultural, organizational culture or cultural fit, I would say. But before that, we should define our company culture. We should clarify what are core values and put it down on a piece of paper, engrave it in your website, engrave it in your office, wherever possible. Because while interviewing, if we are not aware what is that we are looking for, or whether we are not aware how to gauge this cultural fitment, it would be of no use. So, firstly, identify your core values, clarify your core values, do it as an exercise if you have not done, and then, of course, implement it even at the junior most level. Then, for example, if for a construction company, safety and innovation is a core value for you. So you need to keep in mind while hiring or any kind of communication that you have outside your company or social media, that you are portraying and displaying this core value out there. uh, Team dynamics. So understand what kind of personality the person is, what kind of work style that person is. Ask him or her the questions like that. And for example, teamwork and collaboration is very, very crucial in an interior design company. So ensure that you are asking that behavioral question to that person and assessing his or her fitment while hiring. Next is use behavioral event interview, as I said. So there are two types: situation based, and second type is value oriented based. So ask questions like, for example, you have seen that in the second slide, but let me give you an example. For situation based, you can ask them questions like, can you share an experience where you had to collaborate with a difficult client, and how did you maintain? So look at his response, listen to his gesture, listen to, sorry, answer, response, what kind of situation he's telling. Or for a value oriented based question, you can ask, how do you ensure that your work meets both technical standards as well as customer needs? Check for what kind of response he or she is giving. For an architect company, you can ask, describe a project where sustainability was a priority, and how did you incorporate that into your design? So it is very interesting to listen to their questions, listen to your responses. While at the back end, we know that acha, in such scenario and such projects, this is the value that this person is going to show, and whether we can actually relate to our company value and company culture or not. Next is work environment and team collaboration, for example. So workplace compatibility, if you have to access, so ask them question whether what is the preferred work environment from them. We always tell them this is our JD, this is our expectation, but we never ask candidates while hiring, or when they come to our board on board, we don't ask them what are their expectations. So you can ask them, do you prefer working in a structured environment with clear processes, or do you like to work in an individual contributor role? Always ask this question while hiring. How well do you work in teams or in an IC team, in an IC role, or do you thrive more in a flexible and adaptive environment as against structured processes and cleared processes? So their answers will be answers to your cultural fitment questions, right? Now then consider your long-term goals. So you can ask questions like, typically they are asked, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? Or what's your career plan? Or what is your dream company expectations? This is a very nice question to ask. as to what is their dream role or what is their dream company. Describe your dream company. So then that will be again a ready reckoner for you whether this a person is a cultural fit or not. Next is you can take external help like using cultural fit assessments. There are very many options in the market like a Hogan assessment or a MBTI or a predictive index or a DISC assessment or a 15FQ. So while hiring and selection, you can use that after you interview the question to check whether the working style, the personality style, the cultural fitment is there. So these assessments generally have an ideal profile, and then you have responses from the candidate. So you can actually match. So it's like a Kundli matching with your employee and an employer. So you can always check if it is that a right fit or the purple square for your organization. And then, of course, you can invest in cultural surveys. Which will ask questions. This is not only for hiring, but also for your learning and development purpose, or retaining, or for a long-term perspective, which will have a clear vision as well. So you can use this. Another option is to have a temporary assignment or a temporary project given. Let's say an architecture or interior design. You can ask them just to work for a trial period, maybe for a 6 months or 7 months, and then that saves your cost as well, because you are going to invest only in 6 months. Only if you find the person is culturally fit, domain knowledge wise fit, you can hire that person as a permanent employee. So you can definitely try out this option. Yes. So this was all about cultural fitment assessment, and I think that's it from my side. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Let me stop my screen so that I can see all of you, and then now we can have questions, because I think we still have time, right?
Yeah, we can take a few questions. We've got another 10 minutes or so.
Are there any
So
questions already on chat? Do I have to see?
yes, there are some. One was asked by Amita, like when you do this hiring process, the interview should generally be how much time? Like, is it a 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, multiple interviews, one interview? How should it be? Like, how
So
should the
see,
interview?
right. So for example, there are companies who have 6 interviews also.
Wow.
I don't believe. I personally underwent 6 interview processes in an HR consulting firm 4 years down. That was a very small HR consulting firm. But why 6 interviews? Let me tell you, because I was supposed to work on a client end. So my client could be either a manufacturing setup or a gems and jewelry, or could be an NBFC. So there are different project managers who have openings at their own projects. So which is why I was interviewed by the owner of the company, the HR of the company, and 3 projects managers. And so they, wherever fitment, they would see that I am fit for more for this profile or more for this industry, they would have put me in that particular. So ultimately, I was looking after an NBFC, and for 3 years I worked with them. So of course, to answer your questions, I personally feel 30 to 40 minutes is more than enough to assess. Now that you know what kind of questions to ask, rather than just sticking to the CV, I think you should ask more of behavioral questions. You should ask more of situational questions. You should assess them from a cultural fitment for a long-term perspective. 30 minutes to 40 minutes is okay. I think 2 rounds is more than enough. Functional head can take and an HR head can take. If it's a very senior position, then of course you would want your stakeholders to match to interview them. So maybe 3 levels is okay. So there's no set answer for this, but typically if you see 30-40 minutes, more than enough.
Great.
Sorry, can I just take this
Yeah.
question a little bit ahead? So Amita,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
Archana, you talked about many things to be checked during 40-45 minutes. It is very difficult. So do you feel that we should have a question paper or something which will actually help us to assess the personality of a person before the interview? Do you feel it as a tool, or as a technique?
Yes.
It is good to have.
Yeah. So interviews are of different types. One is your technical questions. They have to be there. Second, technical domain can be one interview. Third, could be an HR interview, which will assess all of this. If you do not have a formal HR, then the owner of the company has to do it. Or for a safer side, you can always have a personality assessment, which is given after the interview. which they can go back to their home and do it completely, because there's no chat GPT or Google answers that they are going to help. It's their personality, it's their
Yes.
values, motives, and principles that they follow, and they can't be bluffing around. So these psychometric tests are very, very powerful. I have myself a certified predictive index and 15FQ certified assessor. So there's no chance of bluffing in those personalities. Secondly, our Indian culture, we have a tendency of showing good, having a good image. So always, so that element is also taken care in the psychometric. So you always tend to answer as कि मैं कैसे अच्छा दिखूंगी या कैसे अच्छा दिखूंगा वाला answer. There's always a catch in there. But psychometric assessments ask you 1,000 questions or 100 questions for that matter, so that you are not bluffing and you are not actually ruining the entire thing. So one, I think that's why I said two, domain and technical, one, and one in HR, to assess from all your logistic point of view. Of course, then people travel far, and how are they going to travel, who's their family member, and so on and so forth. How are they good, bad in their academics and all of that. So HR from a cultural fitment and academics and technical and domain. So two, and then you can always give out the psychometric assessment, which a psychometric assessment, mind you, cannot be the only selection factor, because you can develop or you can train the person after hiring. So skill and will issue, as you must have heard. So skill is required. Will issue, you can still, work around it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, definitely. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much.
There was another question by Ranjan asking, can you elaborate on the mentorship program?
The mentor-mentee program?
Yeah.
Okay.
In an
So,
organization.
sure. So then, firstly, decide which is the major chunk in your organization, whether mid-level or a senior manager level or whatever. And in mid-level also, you can specify whether it is SM or whoever. I mean, I do not know your structure right now. So identify where is the majority chunk of the managers belong to, and identify what's the crucial element. For example, in my company, sales is very important because sales is the revenue generation aspect. For your organization, something else, designers or architects or whatever. So you define it accordingly. Then assign a mentor to your mentee or to the manager. It could be an internal mentor or an external. External comes with a cost. So if you do not want to involve the cost, I'm sure your in-house seniors like a CRO or a CFO or an HR head or training and development head, or for that matter, MD or whoever, COO, you can assign that mentee to the mentor and have fortnightly or a weekly sessions. Not weekly would be too much, maybe fortnightly is a good option. And have them, give them certain questions or give them discussion points as to what they can actually discuss apart from the businesses. Generally, what I have seen is these managers, they talk about what challenges are they facing in their team, their productivity levels, their efficiency levels, their markets that they are into, or their team dynamics is going for a toss, or people are leaving. So, which are HR issues, infrastructure issues, productivity issues they discuss. And another important is their their career growth, their career path. So, tomorrow, if my manager wants to become the head of the department, is there a path carved out, or is there not a carved out? If there is not, then what is that we build? In HR, we have this concept of 9 grid model, which is to identify our high potential. High pots is what we call it. So these managers are my high pots. So they are in the 9th grid of the 9 grid box. So if I retain them right now, that will work for me for long term. There are certain individuals who are less performers, but they have high potentials. So which is why high pots. You need to identify your high pots and uh, train them and mentor them in such a way that they can actually be a replacement of the senior most person. They are their successors. Uh, Give them that kind of training, give them management development programs, give them individual development programs, put them into some kind of training. So all this is mentor-mentee program. You can start with, if you haven't, if you already have, please ensure that it is progressed. Their path is actually seen from hiring to exit. They know where they are. There are certain companies who also hire freshers for 2 years, which means they want which means they want people only for 2 years. They will be trained for initial 6 months, and the rest, 1.5 years, they will work for you like magic. And 2 years, you want them out of the organization so that you have fresh perspective. There are a lot of KPOs and BPOs who do this because post 2 years they have learned enough. They have reached at a manager, team leader level, and then there's nothing to go. So I want a fresh perspective. I want a fresh, higher competitor, larger competition to people to come to my organization. So why I diverted, because this came to my mind that career path is what we were talking about. So this mentor-mentee program can have something like that. Like what is expected from 2 years and what they can expect from the company for the 2 years. Yeah. So this is all about mentor-mentee program.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi,
Anybody
Archana.
has?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi,
Hi.
hi.
So, Archana, I think very insightful, the last bit that you just mentioned about the 2 year schedule that
Yeah.
the people, freshers have. So, I
Yeah.
run an architecture engineering firm, and typically I come from a generation where we have given 5 to 7 years to a single organization, seen our projects come through, the buildings stand tall, and our commitment to that place used to be much, much longer and more dedicated. And now when I see the youngsters, they actually, I think they're learning from the other IT or parallel businesses, which actually talk about this 2 year schedule, where no matter how good the environment is, how good the seniors and the mentors are around them, after 2 years, they start getting the hitch and they actually are looking forward to moving on. So in those scenarios where there is a better prospect for them, but they're just following the industry way of doing it, how do we still curtail the people leaving out of the organization and still have them around?
Yes, very, very tricky question. But firstly, understand whether that is going to hamper you. Can you have that model of 2 years? Uh, I have seen an organization where they have empaneled the freshers for an MBA program sponsored by the company. 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs it was. I don't remember right now. But company is paying 3 lakhs for you. They have been paid a minimum salary of maybe 3.5 lakhs per annum. Very less amount of salary, but there is MBA program sponsored by the company. So you are about to stick around the company for next 2 years because company is paying your MBA fees, for example. So this has worked beautifully for both the people, for both the parties, rather, employee as well as employer. For 2 years, you have nice talent in your company. 2 years down the line, if they want to stay, they are MBA pass outs, they are management graduates. Of course, there's a alarming alert that they might move out. But I think for they are okay. The companies are okay. But in your case, as I said, look for what will drive them, look for what they want. So cultural fitment, which is why while hiring, ask their plans, which is why know what you want from that role, firstly. And secondly, money is not always that they're going to follow. And beyond a point, I would still say that there is no control on people who are moving out for salary because that is the need of the hour. Many people work only for money. So if they're following industry trend or if they're following their friends and network in their network, so firstly, the before they enter the organization, I think you should have a profile of each and every company, each and every team member as to what is the plan for this person, what is going to work out for the person, what is not going to work out for the person. And of course, in between, if you have a mid-level manager hand holding or a mentor hand holding the employee, each and every employee, I think this situation will not come. They will think out of the box because right now this is not out of the box. This is everybody's following the trend. So if they have to be out of the box thinker, they need to know or they need to be having a specialized plan for themselves, a niche carved out for themselves. I think this is a very generic answer to my question, but I think we can connect offline and maybe we can discuss few points specifically to our organization. But as I said, before hiring, you need to know what their plans are and what is that you are looking. Everybody is following the trend, but they need to be thinking out of the box. Actually, it's the efforts from the employee as well as a mentor or a manager the person is reporting to. If the person has not showed him or her the career path or a career progression, the employee is intended to do so and follow the trend of this, which may or may not be beneficial eventually. But to also to see that I have seen people who have left the company and they are back in the organization after 2 3 years. So that's the point they realize, Acha, no, this was a much, much, much better organization, much, much better leadership, much, much better cultural fit and all of that. So I've seen that trend as
That's a very beautiful value add. So what are those two things you feel, 2 to 3 things, because of which people do a comeback?
first, leadership and how much of freedom are you going to give that person. I have seen employees, I have seen candidates coming back on the same salary what they were because of the culture, because of the leadership style. I think two very important. Money and all of that is okay, but
Mhm.
these two factors. Even I have seen L&D heads also coming back to the organization. Why? Because of the leadership position, because of the person who is there at the leadership level and the management,
Nice.
because that's where they got the freedom and the liberty to do their work as per their choice, and not just somebody who's micromanaging there at each point of time. Micromanagement is something that people get very irritated fast nowadays. I have seen that myself. So freedom is something that they enjoy, and that's where they it makes them more productive and efficient.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Archana.
I think they are called boomerang employees, right?
Yeah.
We have got such kind of employees, like 3 4 people just join back after leaving for the 6 months
Yeah.
or 1 year or so.
Yeah.
So apart from what Archana has guided us, I think one more thing which I do in my organization
Yeah.
is I take monthly assembly with my whole staff. Okay,
Right. Town hall.
I
Like a
share
town
with them.
hall.
I share with them which new projects we got. So, it's you have to keep on inspiring them, show them the vision, like what company is doing, and so then you will get good retention rate. That's what has worked for me. That's what I feel.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you can do this in a form of a town hall meeting. And if your people are spread across locations, ensure that you meet them in person actually and not virtually. And you can also do a newsletter kind of a communication through emails, wherein your daily, weekly updates can flow through top to down communication. That
So we have a Pune office also, but then we get them virtually for that meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
Just to ask, is this ideal, Sheetal, to be in the beginning of the month, or you do it midway somewhere?
Beginning of the month. So I share at the beginning. I just share the good news, like which new projects we back, and then in fact we play one game also called Ubuntu. So where we call out, we have cheats. So we call out one name, and then everybody says some good thing about that person. But now it is not possible because I have 75 plus people. So now it is not possible. This is what I used to do earlier. But yeah, you have to, I think, share with them company's vision, mission, and what company is doing. Because what is happening, we are keeping everything with our top management people, and we are not sharing that with down the line people. So everybody will feel inclusive if you start sharing with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Similarly, what we do, like when we get any new projects, we have our teams. We are all on teams all the time because we work in 5 cities. So the moment anybody gets any project news, good news, whatever, there are food order, there is whatever they want ordered. So they always waiting कि आज कुछ नया खाने को मिलेगा. They'll have a list of things. यहाँ से order करेंगे, वहाँ से order करेंगे. They all ready. So I guess in our organization, food keeps them together. but I'm recognizing that. In lieu of the time, sorry, I think this is an interesting topic, Archana, and I'm sure many of us have questions and want to reach out. Girls,
Yeah.
please type in. We will send it to
Yeah.
Archana and we'll get a designated answer from her also for all of you. And if you all have any related topics to this that you want us to take on also next time, especially like, how to handle the Gen Z or the younger generation, what makes a tip, how do we work with them? I
That's
think we guys
important.
really want a topic like that as well soon. Archana, just wanted to say that I was doing everything wrong. Thank you, ma'am. I was hiring people based on their, skills, giving them a test to see whether they're doing creative or not and checking their stuff, but never ask them questions like, how did you handle people under you? Where did you fail? How did you pick up? So all those things I was not doing. Thank you so much. And I think from now onwards, the new people I hired will be very different. And I'm take more efforts and all that stuff. And this session for me was absolutely, and I'm sure all of us, was an eye opener. Thank you so much. And what we liked is you gave a lot of strategies. So we
Yeah.
are very happy to share this PPT on the group
Sure,
as
sure.
well.
Definitely.
So if you're okay with that, yeah, we'll share it
Yeah.
with the group so that everybody can benefit from that. And
Absolutely.
looking forward to having you again as well.
Sure, sure.
Thank you so much. So simple is saying you surprised me,
Yeah.
and you tell her you surprised her because she didn't turn up.
Yeah, yeah.
All turned up late.
No, simple is there. Simple is there.
Late.
Yeah,
All
me
turned
and
late.
Archana, we did MBA together, and after very long time, we connected through this session,
Well, we
and
can't
it's
see.
no, I can't open my video
Okay.
now. I'm really
Okay.
sorry, but I'm really surprised, Archana. You did it very well, and it was amazing session. Thank you
Yeah,
so
and it
much.
was so simply put,
My
and I
pleasure.
liked all the strategies that you've given us. I'm sure,
Yeah,
we are all going to pick up some bit of the strategy and we'll be able to implement
absolutely.
it. And while I just close up the session for today, requesting, I mean, most of us are members out here, but please requesting you all to talk to your other friends who are in the other groups and who would love to become members, because the more members we have, the more teeth we have, the more
Yeah.
strength we have, the more people we can call, the more sessions we can do, the more off sessions offline we can do. So request all of you all, please to talk to your friends, ask them to become members, because that will help us make a big difference to all of us. Okay,
Do we
so
have a feedback mechanism as well for the session, inputs and
yes,
okay,
we will send out a Google form and we'll give you the feedback as well.
sure, sure. I'll
And
be happy
like
to
a
see.
true HR, like a
Huh,
true HR, you have
like
asked
the
for a
Yeah.
feedback.
Can
feedback.
I give my feedback
Please
as well?
add feedbacks on social media also once we
Yeah.
Yeah.
put in creative.
Absolutely. No, because why
Yes.
I'm saying, if there are certain questions in form of feedback also, or like I said to Ranjan, if I'm not wrong, I said we
Yeah.
can connect offline and we can
Yeah.
discuss
Megha.
specific strategies for your company and not just a vague, answers. I will be happy to help. I'll be happy to ask. Those BEI questions, please, it's my request to ask those questions during interview. We can have a separate BEI PDF. I can have happy to share that across with you, because it's very dear to my heart, and it's very crucial to implement these questions and not just. I've seen HRs just asking those typical questions, who's your family background, where do you stay, what's your
Yeah.
experience, what's your project. So you need to think beyond. That's where you will get beyond talent also coming to your organization. So yes, I had a amazing time. I also got a very fresh perspective as to what entrepreneurs are thinking. But I always think from an HR perspective, it's good to know the other side of the table as well.
Correct. Thank you so much, Archana, and looking forward to having you again. Thanks, everyone. Stay good, be connected. Like I say, unless you connect to each other, we are not going to learn from each other, nor are we going to be the strength of one another. So please stay connected and be in touch.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Have
Thank
a
you.
fabulous
Thank you,
month ahead.
everyone.
You happy weekend. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thanks. Thanks,
Thank you.
Archana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Who's Divya? I don't know. Thanks, Divya.
Hot
What's her
topic
name?
HR.
Anna.
Absolutely.
और आज ना
वो तो जितना करो वो उतना कम ही लगता है.
actually it is
Seriously.
not our forte, no.
Not our forte, and also I guess we don't think. I mean, there is a process of doing things. Is not what I realized. Even hiring people is a process. There has to be
Yeah,
certain
it's
way
a
of doing things.
process.
So I was
Yeah.
fortunate enough, like in Godrej, like senior leaders used to undergo training about how to take interviews.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So it used to be a 2-day program, not even just 1 hour or 2 hours. It used to be a 2-day program. And over there, we used to also have like, you know, demo in the sense कि आप जो पढ़े हो वो आप करो implement. So like groups बना के we used to have those group exercises.
मुझे इसका अच्छा लगा. She had given lot of good strategies. I think मैं थोड़ा सा अभी वापस पीपीटी देख के
मुझे
अभी
लगा
नए
ये
लोगों
पूना
को.
की है. She is from Mumbai. I can connect with her.
हाँ.
हाँ,
She's
she's
from Mumbai.
from
मुझे भी
Mumbai. She's
हमेशा
from
वाई
Mumbai.
पूना लगा, पता नहीं कल ही मुझे पता चला she's from Mumbai.
So she joined early, so I could, connect with her and ask her.
हाँ.
From where.
And she's saying like she doesn't consult for others because she's in a job, but her passion is over weekend she has life coaching. She's very happy to heal people or help people whatever way she can. She seems to be a nice person actually.
It's good, na?
Yeah, good.
Good. So next वाला we are going to do a little bit late, right? हम लोग 12
हम
को
लोग
नहीं करेंगे.
वही सोच रहे हैं अक्टूबर 12 के बजाय अपन 26 करें क्या, या फिर छोटा वाला 26 को करें क्या, जस्ट फॉर दिवाली.
26
12.
को ना 26.
हाँ.
हाँ.
26 को we'll just do a half an hour, just time pass one. Maybe like what Parul wants to do for her Diwali or some
पारुल को
makeup
आने दो ना
thing or
लेके.
dress. Huh?
पारुल को आने दो. Let her appear. She has
Where is she?
disappeared.
But where is she? I don't know.
ना कुछ तो उसका चालू ही है.
आज भी कुछ तो उसका मैसेज आया, मैं किधर तो जा रही हूँ, अभी मैं वापस रिज्यूम करूंगी, ऐसे कुछ मैसेज आया. क्या?
So we want to continue with She Leads. So 19th October we will do the She Leads का third session. ठीक है. And then 26th को हम लोग कर लेंगे दिवाली पार्टी.
तो अपन 12 के बजाय 26 करें क्या?
या
ठीक है.
12 को तो कोई आएगा नहीं. 12 को दशहरा है.
12 को दशहरा.
ठीक है. तो 26 तो वो इन्फॉर्म कर देते हैं. अक्टूबर का इस बार 12 को नहीं होगा, 26 को होगा.
26 को.
And we're planning to do something fun and yeah. So let's figure out फिर अभी क्या करें
So
fun
even
and.
if we want to play games and all, let us start right now thinking. तो ताकि कुछ उसका प्रिपरेशन. अभी जैसे मेंटी चला नहीं. एक्चुअली क्यों चला नहीं पता है क्या? वहां पे एक सिंबल आता है, वो क्यों नहीं आया पता नहीं स्लाइड में कि स्टार्ट मेंटी.
हाँ.
पर इसमें भी कुछ तो पोल का रहता है रे.
जूम में वो बोली जूम में भी पोल होता है. मैंने बोला मुझे नहीं पता.
I don't have a paid ये ना, तो मुझे समझता नहीं है. I
मुझे
can't
भी
do that
जूम
R&D.
ज्यादा आता ही नहीं. आई डोंट यूज
मुझे
ऑल्सो
एक
मच.
बार में तो मुझे शीतल उसका ना लॉगिन नेम एंड पासवर्ड शेयर कर जूम का. लेट मी हैव अ लुक एट इट.
या सोनाली को जूम आता है तो यू कैन आस्क समबडी हु यूजेस जूम अ लॉट.
हाँ, सोनाली यूज करती है.
और आई आस्क सम फ्रेंड्स कोई जूम ज्यादा यूज करते हैं तो.
ठीक है, चलो मेरा एक इंटरव्यू चल रहा है.
हाँ अभी अच्छे से करना इंटरव्यू.
इंटरव्यू चल रहा है ऑलरेडी. पैरेलली मंदार इज टेकिंग टेक्निकल. अभी मुझे घुसना है उसमें. चलो
जाओ जाओ चलो.
फ्रेश जाते हुए पकड़ते उसको.
बाय.
फ्रेश फ्रॉम द ओवन.
चलो
बाय बाय.